What's up, folks? Maximilian here, and some recent information has dropped for Killer Instinct regarding some of the modes and other small details that I've been waiting a long time to hear about, and I'm sure you have too. And the big one is story mode. Now, there's been a lot of talk about story mode. We've heard that story mode's going to have cutscenes. We've heard that story mode's going to be composed of like all this stuff kind of similar to like the old Killer Instinct games like Killer Instinct 2, perhaps like branching story mode. A lot of this stuff has been mentioned in passing, but we haven't heard a confirmed date on it. And we finally got something from a Microsoft rep over the past couple of days. Now, this is one of the more depressing things about Killer Instinct, and the fact that it's been made only over the past year or so, and that the Double Helix guys, every time I talk to them, are focusing the most on the core gameplay, like the core of the system, and the 6 characters that are going to be at launch. And it's the fact that story mode is not going to be available until all 8 Season 1 characters will be. So we've even gotten some more information from Microsoft from their live stream today, which you're watching the footage from, that these characters aren't going to be available until about January or March. January is dedicated for Spinal, and March is dedicated for Fulgore, and it looks like story mode or arcade mode or whatever they're going to end up calling it won't be available until then. So that makes Killer Instinct a fighting game that is launching without a story mode, but it still has a bunch of single-player stuff. From what I understand, it has like survival and versus CPU and things of that nature. But there is a lot of guys out there that really look forward to the story mode of KI, or the story mode of fighting games in general, and that pulls a lot of people in. I mean, if anything, the NetherRealms games are an excellent example of this with their really big scope and scale story modes and stuff like that, and it sells a ton of freaking units. Right now, it looks like Killer Instinct is extremely multiplayer focused, whether or not it's going to be on the online department or the local versus. It's really a game that is kind of like cemented in the fact that it's a multiplayer versus fighting game, and that's what you're supposed to be doing until a little bit later. So more along the lines goes of everything I've been told over the past, ever since like E3, that they're just focusing on the games and the characters so much. So I really hope that all this stuff comes to fruition. I really hope that the online and the netcode works really well, because that's going to be very important as long as the game is really dependent on its multiplayer working. So we'll see what happens at launch. The only bigger issue of this is that I want to immediately start playing online, and we have these new consoles that are going to be coming out, and I guarantee you the network stability of the new Xbox Live and the new PlayStation Network probably is not going to be that great. And this stuff has happened before with the release of other consoles, so I only hope that KI's netcode ends up being pretty good, and as well as its network stability within the new Xbox Live. But I'm actually really looking forward to story mode, and it's kind of the biggest bummer for me personally that we're not going to be able to see that stuff yet, but I guess it does make sense because they want to include what seems to be the entire cast of Season 1 characters, all 8, including Spinal and Fulgore, and with all of them there, you're going to have like different branching story paths, I'm assuming, for every character. It's like if they put in story mode now, I'm guessing you would play through Jago, and if Jago has to run into Fulgore at some point in the story, well, that's not going to work out because Fulgore is not even a thing in the game yet that we're going to see until March. So I understand where they're coming from. I would just like to see it sooner, because for some reason Killer Instinct has the most ridiculous story of like any fighting games like ever, and I don't know why, but I just want more of it. That ends up being a thing when you have like a series or a franchise or a game that you really like. It's like, I don't care what it is, I just want more of it. And we're going to have to wait until March or so, it looks like. But until that time, I'm hoping that we're going to get like new accessories, new costumes. We're, of course, going to get Spinal and Fulgore within that time frame. So at least I guess there's going to be some things to wet our whistle. I just want to know exactly what those things are, like Shadow Jago and stuff like that, which they're still being very, very, very tight-lipped about. We still have not seen or know anything about what the hell this mystical character actually is. But while watching the live stream today from Microsoft 4KI, I noticed something that they were getting a lot of questions about, like Season 2 stuff, like Season 2 things here, and like Maya and Tusk and Kim Woo there, and like Cinder and Riptor, and, you know, stage finishers and fatalities, and they pretty much go on to say that, yeah, we want to do No Mercies, like stage finishers and, you know, stuff like that. We want to put that into the game. That's coming in Season 2. And it seems like a lot of the responses were, yeah, it's coming in Season 2. Yeah, it's coming in Season 2. So it might be that Season 2 is already confirmed just off of like pre-existing like sales, depending on like, you know, I don't know, between sales expectations on the console or how many versions of whatever they might have had sold already between like the Xbox Live cards or the Pin Instinct. I don't know if this thing validates the game. I know that Killer Instinct is a budget title, and it's this since it was developed only within a year ago, and maybe there's actually enough sales already out there to vindicate that of a Season 2 already being confirmed, because as of right now, it looks like it's actually happening, which has me really freaking excited. I want to know exactly what's going to be happening with the later part of Killer Instinct. I kind of want a confirmation earlier than later that Season 2 is going to be a thing, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. We'll see what happens, but it's just good news, the fact that they're talking about Season 2, that like the official Microsoft guys are talking about it like it is a possibility. So that could be a really good thing, but I'd imagine we still have to support the game, so we'll see how that stuff goes. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening. We're just about like 2 weeks away from the launch of frickin' Killer Instinct, and I feel like this 17-year wait is just getting longer and longer. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you think about story mode or this arcade mode thing not being available at launch. Is that super important to you, or is like CPU, you versus CPU and like Survivor enough for like the guys that really enjoyed the single player? Or are you kind of like me and you just want to immediately jump online and play the crap out of the game? My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you guys very soon.